What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Let's talk about it. Let's get into perspective. Now, Kyle Korver wrote a beautiful piece called Privilege. And when he put that piece out, he was speaking on what he was going through as a player when he was a member of the Atlanta Hawks. He brought up how he felt about Sefolosha, his teammate. And Sefolosha and him became really close. Tabo spoke three different languages. He's from France. His dad's from South Africa. They had to leave because of apartheid over there when he was born. And, he's Turkey, Italian. His mother's from Switzerland. So he's experienced a lot with both sides of the culture. Kyle Korver felt very open to talk to him about culture, politics, religion, and things of that nature. Most things that he felt guarded, being a player of his magnitude, and and new developments started to rear its head in these situations, meaning that when I say new developments, I mean more of new eye-opening situations started to occur. Tabo, in case you guys didn't know, was attacked by the police in New York. He was harassed and arrested, and they ended up breaking his leg. And this is right before the playoffs. And this ended up, changing the outcome of the game for Atlanta in the playoff series. And what was embarrassing to him is his reaction to the whole incident. And his reaction was, what was Tabo doing out at the club on a back-to-back? That was his first initial response. Is what was he doing, out from where he should have been. These are the type of things that that he felt shouldn't have happened. And of course, unbelievable. And he felt bad about that for years. He felt bad that he wasn't concerned about somebody he viewed as a friend all those years, and he was saying, like, I felt embarrassed to say. But here I am. That would have been my response too. I would have been worried, what the hell you doing out there on the back to back? That's my response. That's a natural response. That's a parent response. Parent ain't gonna be looking at what the cops did or what this and that happened to you. Tell them. But until then, they first thing that's gonna pop in their head, what the hell you doing out there? Especially you a player on the team. I don't know how many times I've hurt myself. I remember one time I got this cut right in the middle of my head. The door got stuck in my head, the edge of the door. Me and my cousin was playing or something. I don't know how it actually went down, remember it, but no, the door got stuck in my head. I'm finna get stitches. My mom get to the hospital and she finds out what happened to me when she came home and they got me at the hospital. And once they got me at the hospital, my mom is like losing it because she was nervous, but she was just going off on me. And how did this happen? Blah, 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 blah. So more than your concern. They're gonna be, the logic kicks in. Why were you even out at a club on a back to back? You know, if you weren't at the club and on a back to back, you wouldn't have gotten arrested and all this stuff. So naturally, those things come to play and they come into mind before you start seeing, the realization of the actions that are being poured out into the rest of the world. And when you start to see it, you're like, oh man, what has happened? And, he wasn't concerned about Talbot the way he should. And the thing happened with Russ. And, it's easier for him to hide his face into the crowd. And he could just blend in with those racists because he looks like them. He's the same complexion, and his empathy goes out to the other players, and you have to realize that they have a privilege that other people don't have. And it's cool that he said that because we always hear that from the blacks, but the white people had a support, but from the background, like, hey, we're with you, brother. I'm with you in spirit, but I can't stand out there. So, you get a lot of those. So after that, sorry, a little winded, tired. After that, you've seen a lot of people come out and applaud him for the statement he made, and it was a very powerful statement. But here is some things you need to know. Kyle Korver did not wake up and realize he was white. Okay? Let's get that addressed now. I'm gonna tell you some things that people are like, man, he's been in the league all these years. Why he didn't 2015? That was 4 years ago. Why is he not talking about it now? Because he knows he could be out of the league, and he knows this is probably one of his last years in the league. He might get signed again as another journeyman. He's been a swing man for a large part of his career. And now he finally gets to say something, and he'll be remembered for something when he leaves the game. But he didn't have the bravery to say it back then because, like he said, he was blending in and hiding in the crowd. And now with the thing that's going on in Utah, and he's trying to mend some of the fences that were done, but he never really mended it when he was in Atlanta, he's in Cleveland, and none of these other places. Now, I'm going to expose some things. I'm going to expose some things that you guys may not have known. That Kyle Korver probably ain't going to talk about until he put out a book. Kyle Korver is one of those guys who is a very honest, lovable person, and this was his chance to play in a winning environment being brought over to the Cleveland Cavs. And LeBron remember playing against Kyle Korver and always wanted to have him as a teammate if it was an opportunity to bring him over to the team. So they were able to trade a guy whose back was broken and couldn't play anymore, Dunleavy, and trade him for Kyle Korver. Atlanta went with this trade. Why? I don't know. But it was done. The NBA approved it. And that was that. So Dunleavy was in Atlanta. Kyle Korver was on Cleveland. And Kyle Korver and LeBron was close. Really close. Like, he was bragging on Kyle Korver all the time. I mean, that was his homeboy. Then something happened, right? Something happened. They go to the NBA Finals, Game 3. Cleveland's winning. LeBron dribbles the ball. He turns around. He kicks that ball to Kyle Korver. Do you want to know what happened then? He missed the three. Kevin Durant gets the rebound, goes down, hits a three in LeBron's face. Golden State win. And they end up winning the championship. And everybody's, why did you pass that ball to Kyle Korver, LeBron? You got to take that shot. So the next season, Kyle Korver's like, look, we're going to get this thing going. We're back. We're going to knock it down. Bron says, I'm going to stick with him no matter what. That's my guy. But it was different. It was a lot different with LeBron and Kyle Korver. Reports have it, and word around the campfire was LeBron didn't forgive Kyle Korver for that, missing that three in that corner. And he was basically ostracized. And discussed the situation, period. As far as how it was making him feel. Like he was dealing with it, but he was also surprised how LeBron would seem like to be in resentment and not really 100% with him. And as he was, you know, he was inserted in the starting lineup and he was on the bench and, just used sparingly at times. He was role was reduced a lot. It really affected the confidence of Kyle Korver, and going into the season, they have loaded up. They got Isaiah Thomas on the team. They have all these players on the team, and LeBron's having the Halloween party. And Kevin Love is the guy that he found that on the team that he could talk to and relate with and got along with. So the costume comes in and he's like Freddy Krueger. I mean, like makeup head to toe. And it was clear they had a contest. It was all for fun. It's LeBron's annual Halloween thing that he throws. It was all fun and games. and they have the who won the best contest. And then you got Kyle Korver. He comes in dressed as Willy Wonka from the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He had his wife in there dressed up. He even brought Oompa Loompas. I don't even know how they got in there. But the Oompa Loompas was in there, and, it was fun and games. LeBron came dressed as it, Pennywise, and that's fitting for him. It was a lot of people had great costumes, but for all the makeup and he went through, Kyle Korver should have won. And I think he gave it to Dwayne Wade, who came in there dressed as who they come in, him and Gabrielle came dressed as Millie Vanilli. And I think they won best costume or something. It was just like, really? But it was something because after that, it was the usual same old LeBron James, and I still like Isaiah Thomas as Easy E. He had that costume down because he was looking like Easy. And then Jay Crowder came in there dressed as Prince Hakeem from Coming to America. Even Kevin Love, who he confided in, him and his girl came dressed as NWO. And they had some of the best costumes. It was fun, all fun and games. But, Kevin Love and him talked about it because they thought they had the way better costumes. And I agreed. I thought the costumes were great. He came dressed as Sting and she came dressed as Hulk Hogan. Kevin Love looked just like Sting. With his guy. I'm like, man, that was great costume work. But it's all fun and games. So it don't really matter who won. But Kyle Korver really felt like, man, we got shafted. They won. And they basically felt they were shunned it because it was LeBron's homeboys, and he was just going to give it to whoever it is, and nobody cares what they were going to do, even though they had the best costume. But it came down to the issue of race. Is this reverse racism? White guy couldn't win best costume in LeBron's party? You see? But none of this stuff came out. So my thing is, he wasn't feeling guilty about thinking like this when it was happening because Kevin Love was thinking the same thing. That's why he confided in Kevin Love because both of them had the same observation. We weren't going to get the same. It's a costume contest. Nobody cared about it, really, but it was holding resentment. All because he felt LeBron was holding it over his head that he missed that shot in game 3. And he never really gave him the reassurance, like, hey, the pat on the back, like, hey, I'll give Kyle that thing again, even though he said it in the press. Kyle Korver never really got that full endorsement. The very next season, once they got Wade and everybody else in it, he was like kicked to the side. So it's like that friend that comes over and he's cool with you until his other cousins or friends come in from out of town. Then he don't know you anymore, and he only gonna come back and be cool with you once they're gone. So here's my advice, Kyle Korver: grow the hell up, okay? In that scenario. And I see why you've never mentioned it publicly because it makes you look small. But here's the thing. You know how this world works. You know this world is racist. You've been knowing it was racist. You should have opened your mouth a long time ago. I get it. I understand why you're doing it now. You're doing it now because it's needed in Utah because you guys have gotten a bad reputation over the years. It's no mystery to what's going on in here. Don't be blind to racism. Then finally, when something happens that's affecting your teammates and the people around you that you got to work with, how many of these people are you actually friends with in your real life, Kyle Korver? You have to look around and say, how many black friends do I actually have that is just my friends just because we're friends? That's what you got to ask yourself, Kyle. Look around you and go, wow, I don't really have any friends that don't look like me or my complexion. Why is this? I never stopped to think about it because you never thought to even try. And to now it's okay to think about it. You know what I'm saying? I love what he wrote. It was beautiful. It brings forth dialogue, and people of your color need to come forward because it's a lot more like you. But you're telling a piece of the story, Kyle. Gotta tell it all. Bear it all. Bear it all out. So this is not a Kyle Korver bashing video, ladies and gentlemen. And please hit the like buttons when you watch the videos. I don't know why people don't do it. They'll be sitting there all the time, just won't hit the like button. And if you like everything you heard in the video, please hit the donate button and in the description box and leave me a message in there and tell me what you think. Hit up that Streamlab. I'm out.